I woke up to silence. The kind of silence you only notice when something's wrong. No hum from the fridge. No soft buzz from the heater. No cell signal. Just nothing. At first, I thought the power had flickered off overnight. But when I stepped outside, I saw my neighbors doing the same thing, standing on porches, phones in hand, staring at blank screens. By mid-morning, I drove into town. The corner store looked normal, until I saw the line. People clutching baskets, moving slowly, eyeing each other. Inside, the shelves were thin. Flour, sugar, bread, milk, gone. A man in front of me bought the last 3 packs of bottled water. By noon, the store manager stepped outside and locked the door. A handwritten cardboard sign read, "We are closed until further notice." That was the moment reality sank in. The trucks weren't coming. The stores were shutting down. And nobody knew for how long. Week 1, the panic phase. The first week was chaos. Everywhere you looked, people were rushing, grabbing, hoarding. Gas stations had cars wrapped around the block. ATMs ran dry by the 3rd day. I took inventory of my home. 2 weeks of canned goods, maybe. A half bag of rice. Some pasta. A few gallons of water. And the bitter truth, not enough. The nights were the hardest at first. The quiet was unsettling, broken only by distant shouting or barking dogs. I could hear generators rumbling a few streets away, a reminder that some people were better prepared than I was. By day 5, neighbors started knocking. Not to be friendly, to ask if I had extra. A little sugar. Some milk powder. A spare flashlight battery. It was hard to say no. But I knew that every yes shortened my own survival clock. Week 2, reality sets in. The panic buying was over because there was nothing left to buy. People began looking for alternatives, anything to trade. I saw a man offer 2 bottles of whiskey for a single loaf of bread. Without stores, you realize how quickly you run out of the basics. Soap. Toothpaste. Coffee. People were willing to give up a lot just for a taste of normal. I started rationing hard. Breakfast became a small bowl of oats. Lunch was skipped. Dinner was rice with a few beans. I drank more water to fill the hunger. But even the water was a problem, my stored gallons were shrinking fast. That's when I realized, if I wanted to survive 90 days, I'd have to find ways to stretch every single thing I owned. Week 3, the first signs of desperation. By the 3rd week, you could feel the mood in town changing. The polite asking was gone. Now it was bargaining, and sometimes threats. I overheard 2 men arguing in the street. One accused the other of stealing food from his porch. It ended with a fistfight. I kept my head down and stayed inside as much as I could. When I did go out, I didn't carry anything that looked valuable. That's when I learned the first real survival rule of a world without stores: don't advertise what you have. Week 4, bartering becomes the new economy. By now, cash meant nothing. The new currency was food, medicine, and fuel. I traded a pack of instant coffee for a dozen eggs from a neighbor's backyard chickens. Another time, I gave away a spare lighter in exchange for 2 cans of beans. I also started doing small favors for trade. Sharpening tools. Helping carry water. Keeping watch for someone while they went to gather supplies. It wasn't just about food anymore. It was about building trust with the few people who weren't looking to take advantage of others. Week 5, the weather turns. The first real storm hit hard. Without stores, without quick repairs, everything became harder. Leaky roofs stayed leaky. Cold mornings stayed cold. I learned that in survival, bad weather isn't just an inconvenience, it's a multiplier for every other problem you have. Cold makes you hungrier. Rain makes you sicker. Wind makes you lose what little heat you've stored up. Week 6, hunger becomes a constant companion. By the 6th week, hunger wasn't just a feeling anymore, it was a shadow that followed me everywhere. My stomach growled through the night, waking me up. My hands felt weaker. Even simple tasks took twice as long. I'd cut my daily food down to one true meal, eaten in the evening, just to make the daylight hours bearable. But the math was simple: the less I ate, the less I could do, and the less I could do, the harder it became to survive. I started foraging more seriously: dandelion greens, pine needles for tea, wild berries I knew were safe. It wasn't much, but it gave me something to chew, something to fight the emptiness inside. Week 7, the unwelcome knock. It was a Tuesday when the knock came. Slow. Heavy. Not the quick rap of a friend. I froze. Through the curtain, I saw two men I didn't recognize. They weren't neighbors. One held a bat. The other, a shovel. They didn't smile when I opened the door an inch. They just asked, "Got anything to trade?" Their eyes scanned past me into the house, like they were measuring the place. I lied. Told them I was down to scraps. They didn't believe me, but they left, maybe because they thought someone else was inside. That night, I moved my food into smaller, hidden caches. I realized something chilling. Food wasn't just survival anymore, it was a reason for someone to hurt you. Week 8, the water problem. Food was one thing. But by week 8, the bigger problem was water. My stored supply was nearly gone, and the local pump station had long stopped running. I started collecting rainwater in every container I owned: buckets, pots, even an old cooler. I boiled everything, just in case. When there was no rain, I walked half a mile to a muddy creek and filtered what I could. Water was heavy. Carrying it home was exhausting. But without it, I wouldn't have made it to week 9. Week 9, illness. It hit me fast. A fever one night, chills the next morning. Probably something from the creek water I hadn't boiled long enough. For 3 days, I barely moved. No stores meant no medicine. No cough syrup. No painkillers beyond the last 2 tablets in my bathroom cabinet. I remember lying there, wondering if this was how it ended, not from violence, not from starvation, but from something so small. By some miracle, my body fought it off. But it left me weaker than before. Week 10, the small victory. I was checking the traps I'd set in the woods, mostly out of habit by now, when I saw it. A rabbit. It was the first real meat I'd had in over 2 months. I skinned it clumsily, cooked it slowly over coals, and ate until I could barely move. It was more than food, it was hope. The reminder that even in the worst conditions, small victories can keep you alive. Week 11, smoke on the horizon. I saw the smoke before I smelled it. A thick column rising above the trees to the east. By midday, I heard the shouting. A group, maybe 6 or 7, moving through, hitting homes along the back road. They weren't bartering. They were taking. That night, I slept with my shoes on, ready to leave at a moment's notice. It hit me. In a world without stores, safety isn't guaranteed by locks, it's guaranteed by distance. Week 12, the cold creeps in. Nights dropped below freezing. Without steady food, my body couldn't keep itself warm like before. I blocked off every unused room, lived only in the smallest space I could heat with a small fire. I wore every layer I owned. Still, my breath hung in the air like a ghost. Cold is cruel. It doesn't just slow you down, it makes you stop caring. That's when mistakes happen. Week 13, day 90. I woke up to the sound of birds. The air was crisp, but the storm had passed. I was thin, almost unrecognizable in the mirror. My clothes hung loose. But I was alive. 90 days. No stores. No resupply. No safety net. What I had left could fit in a backpack, and most of it was knowledge, not things. I learned that survival isn't about gear, it's about discipline. It's about knowing when to share and when to protect. When to move and when to stay hidden. When to hold on, and when to let go. I don't know when, or if, the stores will ever open again. But I do know one thing. If it were you, could you have made it this far?